In this video, we will be discussing about the syllabus of STW, right? तो STW में आपका सबसे पहले प्लेजरिज्म आता है. Plagiarism में we will study about the words, ideas, and work product which is copied by any other uh, person, which is attributable to any other another identifiable person, right? That is what we call plagiarism. ये तब होता है जब आप विदाउट attributing the work to the source of original person from where you copied that particular word, idea, or work product, right? Then comes violations, right? So plagiarism is a considered as serious violation of academic integrity. अब academic integrity क्या होता है? These are some rules and principle that guides reporters or a particular group to provide accurate or fair kind of information to public, right? And this is basically a commitment to honesty, trust, and fairness in terms of learning, teaching, and research, right? And what are the punishments of plagiarism? So, punishment of plagiarism is kind of, you can be suspended from your workplace or you can be expelled from your college if you do plagiarism. There was a case in which a law student plagiarized some research paper from his more students in his university. That case is famous. And another punishment for plagiarism can be imprisonment. It can be a court case also if someone will apply copyright infringement. Now, what is copyright infringement? Copyright infringement is basically एक पर्टिकुलर ऑथर है या फिर कोई ओरिजिनल राइटर है, आप उसके कंटेंट को बिना उसके परमिशन के यूज़ कर रहे हो, राइट? सो दैट इज़ कॉपीराइट वायोलेशन. एंड एक कॉपीराइट होल्डर के पास उसका जो मोरल राइट्स होता है उसको आपने वायोलेट कर दिया, राइट? बिकॉज विदाउट कंसेंट यू हैव copyrighted the work. So this is what copyright infringement. It is violation of rights of a copyright holder when material whose use is restricted by copyright is used without consent. Now, plagiarism is moral offense also, and it is based on anyone who has provided the plagiarist with a benefit in exchange for what is specifically supposed to be original content. So what happens, suppose I am writing a research paper under my professor. So what, this is just an example. So what might happen, those people who are writing the research paper in under that particular person, if any one of them or if any editor of them plagiarize, right, in exchange of some benefit, that is also a moral offense. Suppose any publisher helps in plagiarism, so that is also a moral offense. University of Oxford says plagiarism is not only limited to work ideas, it is also कंप्यूटर कोड इलस्ट्रेशंस या ग्राफ्स की भी आप अगर प्लेजराइज करते हो तो ये भी प्लेजरिज्म के अंदर आता है. इट ऑल्सो अप्लाइज टू टेक्स्ट एंड डेटा ड्रॉन फ्रॉम बुक्स एंड जर्नल्स. नाउ 4 टाइप ऑफ प्लेजरिज्म. फर्स्ट इज कैरेक्टर प्रिजर्विंग प्लेजरिज्म, in which it is verbatim citation, that is copying without proper basically I mean verbatim citation का मतलब होता है कि एग्जैक्टली कट टू कट कॉपी जैसा लिखा हुआ होता है. सपोज एक पर्टिकुलर नोवेल को कोई कॉपी कर रहा है तो उसका हर चीज़ लिखा हुआ एग्जैक्ट अगर कोई कॉपी करता है वो वर्बटिम साइटेशन के अंदर आता है, राइट? एग्जैक्टली एज इट वाज स्पोकन और रिटन एंड विथ फॉर्मल रेफरेंस टू अ सोर्स ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन, आइडिया और वर्ड, राइट? प्रॉपर साइटेशन अगर आप नहीं करते हो अपने प्लेजराइज्ड कंटेंट में, सो यू शुड गिव रेफरेंस, राइट? यू आर डूइंग वर्बटिम copying, but you are not giving proper citation, right? So this is character preserving plagiarism. Now comes syntax preserving plagiarism. तो एक इसमें क्या होता है, टेक्स्ट रिप्लेसमेंट ऑपरेशन दैट स्वैप्स अ वर्ड और फ्रेज विथ न्यू वन व्हाइल स्ट्रिक्टली कीपिंग ओरिजिनल ग्रामेटिकल स्ट्रक्चर. सपोज आपने कुछ पोएट्री लिखी है, उसमें आपने कोई मेटाफर का कुछ यूज किया है, राइट? आई मीन यू देन सपोज आपने कुछ टेक्स्ट यूज किया अपने पोएट्री में, उसी टेक्स्ट को कोई कॉपी कर रहा है, ठीक है, कुछ वर्ड या कुछ फ्रेज को स्वैप करके. सो यू विल से दिस इज सिंटैक्स प्रिजर्विंग प्लेजरिज्म. मतलब ग्रामेटिकल स्ट्रक्चर सेम है, पर आपका जो टेक्स्ट है वो आपने थोड़ा मैनिपुलेट कर दिया है. सपोज समवन said sun rises in the east, someone else will write in their plagiarized content, it rises in the east, right? So the grammatical structure is same, only the words or phrases are being swapped or manipulated, right? Now comes semantic preserving plagiarism. Suppose you have a Chinese or any another language novel and you are copying into that Hindi version. So this is what you are doing, translation of that content. This is semantic preserving plagiarism. Now comes idea preserving plagiarism. So in this, what happens, you are using ideas or concepts. For example, someone used any kind of metaphor or analogy in their content, right, in their story, and you are using the same metaphor, same analogy, then it comes under idea preserving plagiarism. Using a specific metaphor in your book review invented by critic without acknowledge who you are not acknowledging, you are not matlab you are not referencing the person who had originally used that metaphor, right? Then comes self plagiarism. So it is basically recycling fraud, because your audience expect a lot from you. This comes under ethical issue, because it is basically when when what happens if you are plagiarizing your own content, so what happens, you are not able to create a new content, right? It also disappoints the audience for whom you are creating the content, right? Suppose it is reuse of significant identical or nearly identical portions of one's own work without acknowledging that one is doing or citing the original work, right? It can be ethical issue by what, sorry, it can be copyright issue by what, suppose you have your content is being owned by someone else, now your original content, and you are self plagiarizing. So what happens if a copyright or prior work has been transferred to another entity? That entity will now claim that it is his original work, so that would create a problem. Now, plagiarism and AI. So what Noam Chomsky says, ChatGPT is nothing more than a high-tech plagiarism. Why? Because in ChatGPT it uses many websites, many platforms to gather information or to gather data, which knowingly or unknowingly do a lot of plagiarism from many authors, from many original sources. So technically, AI is kind of a high-tech plagiarizing platform, right? Because GPT can generate paragraphs, reading comprehension, question answering, summary, right? By what? By taking by using many other platforms, right? Now comes your right, audience, types of audience. So first, there are three types of audience: primary, secondary, tertiary. So what I will you can read about these three in detail. I will just explain it through an example. So suppose I am teaching, suppose there is a course of Ruby programming language, right? So what will happen, will be three type of audience who will come in contact to that course, right? So first will come, first the type of audience that will appear will be primary audience. These people are early career Ruby developers with 0 or 2 years of, sorry, yes, early career Ruby developers with 0 to 2 years of Ruby programming experience. So basically, this primary audience is the one for whom the course is specifically made. Now comes secondary audience. These people are the those who will just go through it. I mean, just take an example of textbook. Children and teachers. Children are the primary audience, and teachers who go through it sometime is secondary audience. So advanced Ruby developer who want to share big who advanced Ruby developer who to share beginner level content with their students. These are secondary audience, and tertiary audience are those people who has something, some I mean some type of accidentally they came across it. Like for example, the hiring manager or the podcast producer who have to go through it for their any kind of work, right? Now we will discuss about these five writings. So here, first is scientific writing. So I will dictate one by one, and I will say what which points are important under scientific writing, science writing, creative writing, content writing, and technical writing. Right. So let's begin first with scientific writing. It is This writing is basically done with objective to communicate research results between experts. Suppose you are going to do a research based on any plant. Basically, you are doing any research on plant growth or something like gene editing of a plant, right? So you wrote many things after researching, and you are gonna you want to that particular writing to be read by other experts. So you can use scientific writing. The content in scientific writing is highly technical and is objective, right? Language includes jargons because it is specifically made for experts, and audience is specific and professionals, right? It includes great details since it serves as an official record of research, right? And let's talk about structure. So a structure is in im read form. It is introduction, methods, results, discussions. Examples are literature review. Now what is literature review? It is basically summary and critical synthesis of existing particular research on a specific topics. Some research articles might be, or some posters might be example of scientific writing. Now comes science writing. So science writing is made for broader audience, made for laymen, people who want to read about science, not the filled with jargons, but the one filled with metaphors, analogies, diagrams, right? For example, the school textbooks are basically example of science writing because they are more oriented to make people be aware about science and facts, not to be just put a research on that science, that particular thing, right? It focus on particular finding explanation for item of public interest because it is made for, of course it is made for variety of people, right? And some examples are national geographic articles or the simple science textbook that anyone wants to read. Then comes creative writing. So what is creative writing? The type of writing in which the artistic freedom is whether fictional or non-fictional. It is based on language, storytelling, character development, the way anyone wants to shape that particular content. They can use literary devices, right? And it has the potential to inform and entertain. Suppose for informing people, I can make biographies, or suppose I want to entertain people, so I can do it using science fiction films, or scripts, right? I can make songs, right? So it also includes varied point of views, right? Basically, what a person uses his imagination to provide a creative work, that they can also include. It includes narrative voice of first person, second person, or third person, right? Some examples are novels, short stories, poetry, self-help books, right? Creative writing is also the core concept behind creative writing is the author uses his or her own imagination, right? Now comes content writing. So content writing is specifically made for conveying information. There is no space for author's personal opinions. Marketing tool requiring high output and tight deadlines, right? Engaging writing with high readability and attention holding capacity. It is not made to deliver anyone's opinion. It is made to basically grab the audience, and uh, it it should be bestseller, that kind of thing, right? It relies on creativity but very limited boundaries. There are some guidelines you have to follow by that particular, under whom you are writing that content writing, right? Now difference is, first, purpose. The difference between a style of creative writing and content writing is, creative writing style is very imaginative, humorous, fantastical. It might be serious also, because you can also convey some serious message through your creative writing, right? And for talking about content writing, you can use factual, informative, methodical and logical style to write content writing. Now talking about technical writing, so it is based on explanation, instruction, direction. There are two type of technical writing: tangible and intangible. Tangible, something that you can touch, and something you can use for your own daily life. For example, software installation or furniture assemblies, right? Those type of instruction manuals that are made for physical objects. Now intangible is something that is abstract. For example, office policies or behavior instruction, or the one that you might have got when you were new to any place. So you will get something like guidelines and rules to follow here. So these are intangible technical writing. Now characteristics and objectives. So first we will discuss about characteristics. It must transform information from complex industries like medical or engineering into organized, user friendly facts. Characteristics is the need to second characteristic is need to translate concept between consumer and developer, the one who made that particular product and the one who will be consuming it. So this technical writing, this thing should make a bridge between the consumer and developer, so that they can understand in friendly manner. This can be user oriented. For example, a product description or frequently asked question, or marketing oriented also, like promotional content. Objective is to provide organized info that facilitates quick decision making, to bring clarity, accuracy, conciseness and concreteness in sharing of information, to avoid ambiguities, partial and incorrect information, right? That is the obvious thing. And last but not least, we will discuss about audience, right? So who are experts? They are the people who know business, organization and product. These people are basically in the research and development area field of the government, and these are highly associated with technological world, right? These are the one who can read a scientific writing. Now comes technicians. These are the one who have to do with technical writing. They build, they operate, they maintain and they repair the items that experts design, right? They have highly technical knowledge, also one thing, experts also have technical knowledge. Executives, they don't have technical knowledge. They are the people who make business, economic, administrative, legal, government or policy decision about products. These are basically buy or no buy type of people, like CEO, like hiring managers, committees, etc. Gatekeepers, they oversee the content. Basically they oversee the thing, the content, the writer or the whatever. They just are concerned with it follows legal obligations, sorry, yes, it follows rules, regulations, policies or not. They basically edit. They are the editors. Lay people, these are the people who don't have any kind of technical knowledge. They just they are just at beginner level and they want to know about that particular thing. For example, students from other field, I am from, suppose, particular branch, suppose I am from CSE. So any a student who is reading my book from any another branch, so that a student is lay people, right? They need to understand about the technology, product or procedure enough to use them in their particular situation, right? So this was all up to what I have been uh, provided, the syllabus of STW. um, I hope you'd like the video. So yeah, this is it.